Alright, what is up, GDQ? My name is Nestani, and today we're going to be running Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights, all bosses, no CE. No CE stands for no creepy early. I almost just said it there, but creepy early is essentially just an exclusive trick to the Xbox version of the game, which basically, since most people don't have the Xbox version, we've basically split the boards due to accessibility purposes, since most people have the GameCube version of the game, which, speaking of the GameCube version of the game, is the one that we are running on today. We're running on the NTSC GameCube version of the game. We're running on the Wii console specifically, as it is the fastest way to run the game. But enough about that. We're going to be running all bosses. Now, as you can imagine, all bosses, we're going to be defeating all the bosses in the game, but there are 4 bosses in the game. There is, in order that you would fight them casually, is Black Knight, then Green Ghost, then Redbeard, then Mastermind. And essentially, all I want you to know about the boss is that we're going to move Black Knight to the 3rd boss that we're going to fight. And by moving him to the 3rd boss we're going to fight, we save a lot of time, and we're going to do a lot of sequence breaking in order to do that. And I just wanted to plant that seed in your head before we get going, just so you have a bit of semblance, a bit of structure of how we're going to move throughout the game. And also, I just wanted to mention that we are going to not fight a boss for about 20 minutes in this run. And basically, like the first half of the run, we're going to be collecting a bunch of upgrades in order to basically beat the bosses. And then we're going to basically do a boss rush at the end of the run. And that's our basic skeleton of the run. But enough about that. Let's just hop in. Timer's going to start on new game. So 3, 2, 1, go. So, Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights is a 2.5D/3D action platforming Metroidvania, meaning that we're going to be doing a lot of platforming, and we're also going to be collecting a ton of upgrades throughout the game. Now, we're going to use some of these upgrades in order to get to some of the bosses earlier than intended, and that's going to be very important. And that's actually what we're going to be doing the first half of the run, is we're going to be collecting a bunch of upgrades. And so, but first, we're going to be running in this big circle collecting these things called Scooby Snacks. Those are the collectibles that I'm running into, making that chopping sound. Then we're going to pay the 25 snack gate. And basically, we have to pay these snack gates with a certain amount of snacks, and they're unavoidable. But we're going to be skipping a lot of snack gates throughout the game, but we have to pay certain ones. The first 2, we're going to actually pay with the exact amount of snacks required. But here we're going to do a little finicky trick known as chandelier jump. Jump up here, get these 2 snack boxes. Snack boxes are worth 5 snacks each, so we're going to be prioritizing them more than singular snacks. We're going to talk to Holly. She's going to give us the map invention, which basically the map just allows us to look at the map from anywhere, and which will set up for a trick known as pause storage later on in the run. But right now, she also triggers the groundskeeper spawn, who is voiced by Don Nazi. He's going to give us the shovel, which will allow us to dig up this key, and we're going to make our way into Shock 1. Don't ask me why Scooby needs a shovel to dig. I don't know, but we're just going to get into Shock 1 because we are on our way to our second invention of the game, the Springs upgrade. And so basically the Spring upgrade just allows us to double jump twice. And what I want you to know is that essentially everything in this game, anything that moves that is not us, is on a set cycle. So that means these flying fish in the back here, those are on a set cycle, and these rats up here are on a set cycle. And basically we're going to be moving in certain ways in this game to essentially avoid enemies. And we're going to also be moving in a way where we're going to be maximizing the amount of snacks that we are collecting in each level, while also minimizing the amount of time in each level by making certain cycles. I'm going to try to point out some of these throughout the run, but just know that we are moving with a purpose every single level, and they're meticulously routed so that we end up collecting the perfect amount of snacks by the end of the run. So here we're going to do a trick known as rubber band skip, which we basically just jump up there without the use of Shaggy. Normally we need him to throw us up onto there, but we're a strong independent dog. We don't need no man, so we're just going to do that ourselves. We're just going to jump up without his help, and that's going to be a reoccurring trend. And so right here we have exactly 50 snacks, but from now on we're going to basically start over collecting because these snack gates scale up very heavily. They scale all the way up to 850. And so now we're going to kind of go out of our way a little bit for snacks going forward. But right here, this tar is very sticky, and we cannot run or jump on it unless we run off of other things. And so basically what we're going to do is that there's a 2-frame window where we can jump off the tar at the beginning of this level, and that allows us to do a trick known as tar strats, which essentially allows us to get to the back half of this level and basically skip all of the tar, letting us get to the other side of this level a bit faster. And then we can get to the Springs upgrade, which allows us to, again, double jump. And then we're going to fall in the water, death abuse, and death abusing essentially sets us back to where we entered the level at. And then we're going to do a fishy skip, or as we will call it in this run, a Black Knight skip. And you're going to wonder why we're skipping Black Knight, but let's just look at this trick for a second. You don't need any explanation, right? We just fall through the water and then we just get over here. So essentially what happened there is that we got out of bounds, and basically whenever you get out of bounds, there's a failsafe in the game, and we call this failsafe a void warp. And void warp is essentially just warps you to the intended beginning entrance of a level, and so essentially you're in Pier 2. It warps us to the entrance of Pier 2, which is connected to Pier 1, which is where we want to go, which is past all of that tar. And since normally you need the Galoshes upgrade, which Black Knight gives you the Galoshes upgrade, normally you need to get the Galoshes to get over there. Essentially, we just skipped 25% of the game and the Black Knight boss fight, but we're not really skipping that since we're coming back to it later, but we basically just skipped the need of the Galoshes. And so that is the first half of Black Knight skip. This is the second half. So you saw me Death Abuse there. Death Abuse there not only to skip a cutscene, but I also Death Abuse there to move keys and boxes. So at the end of this level, there are some keys and boxes, and normally we need the helmet upgrade in order to break open these boxes to acquire the keys. But if we Death Abuse, we can basically just move these keys in certain positions where we move these keys to certain positionings where we can collect them without the use of the helmet upgrade. Now, 3 of these keys are pretty easy. This one, we're just going to hold up left. We're going to clip into that box, get that key, and then we're going to, upright into this box. And then we're going to drag this fish over here to this third box. And basically, this is the finicky one. This is a very precise trick. So this looks pretty good, I think. First try, maybe? Ooh. I might have to reset the positioning here. I'll try one more time. There we go. Okay, I got it. That's a very, very precise trick. But luckily we got it in a pretty good timely manner, and then we're going to make our way into Coast 2. Now, this is Scooby's charge attack, and basically we can use Scooby's charge attack and to slide around enemies. And the way that we do this is that we aim our head around these enemies, and then we can make a cycle in this level known as Zero Cycle, making past that first box before it smashes us. Now, back to Scooby's charge attack is that whenever he charges, his hitbox shrinks to his head, and as long as you are aiming Scooby's head away from enemies, it allows you to slide past them without getting hit. And we're going to do a bit more of that later on in the run, but right now we're going to be in Coast 3, where we're going to basically, at the end of this level is the completion of Black Knight skip. And basically the completion means that we get to a warp gate, and we can essentially warp back to this level later on. And so here, we're going to do a trick known as I like to say, Great Dane Jesus, because we're going to get hit by this fish, and then we're going to just walk across the water back here to these boats. This is known as coast boats. And essentially how we get back here is that we get some iframes when we get hit, and we can use that to walk across water. And then we're going to jump on an invisible fish net. Fun fact, 2 different versions of this game have that, and I have the one that has that, and we're going to hit that warp gate and warp away. Now, if you notice, there's a snack gate there. That snack gate is 500 snacks. And if you notice, A, we don't have 500 snacks, but B, behind that snack gate is the Super Smash upgrade. Now, a thing about the Super Smash upgrade is that right now we are on our way to the helmet upgrade because we need the helmet in order to open up the container that the Super Smash is held in, right? So now we are on our way to the helmet upgrade right now. That is our objective. And essentially, you might wonder, well, why didn't we just get the helmet upgrade sooner? And that is because if we left Pier 2, where we clipped through that water and we did that void warp, if we left Pier 2, we actually can't re-enter that room until we get the Super Smash upgrade. And so that would kind of defeat the purpose if we had to get the Super Smash upgrade, because then we have to go through all these levels just to get the Super Smash upgrade, just to do Fishy skip, but we'd have to go through Fishy in order to get to the Super Smash upgrade. And so that's why we can't go back there, which is why we had to go through those boxes without the helmet upgrade, and we had to warp away. But now we can warp back to there, and now we have officially skipped all of Fishy, because essentially Fishy is right before Pier 1, after we void warp, is essentially in between Fishy and Coast. And so we skipped all of Fishy, as well as skipping the meat of the Galoshes upgrade from the Black Knight. And so now we are on our way to the helmet upgrade. There's a lot of routing going on here, but it's all going to come together in the end. Just stay with me. And so right here in Hedge 3, normally after this, in order to get to the helmet upgrade, we need to go to the next room, which is Hedge 4, which is a very long auto-scroller, and we normally have to go to the greenhouse levels and the hill levels in order to get to Hill 3. But if you know, Hill 3 is, there's an entrance to Skull 1 in Hill 3, and so what we're going to do is we're going to do SCS, or Skull Cliff Skip, where we're going to clip through this gate. Now, this gate is actually pretty easy to clip through. You can actually do that one at home. You just hold up left on the D-pad, and you can just clip through that gate. And then we're going to be in Misbehaving 1, and we're going to be collecting these keys. This is because past that gate is the Green Ghost boss fight, which is going to be very important later on. But right now, we can't fight Green Ghost because we need the Super Smash upgrade in order to fight him. And so we're actually going to come back to this level a bit later on, but we're just going to open up that because it's going to set us up for a trick later on in the run known as Plunger Skip. But let's just put that on hold because we still need to get the helmet upgrade. And essentially, by going through the Skull Cliff levels backwards, we can get to the helmet upgrade faster than going through the hill levels as intended. And that is because we're going to do another Void Warp. This one is pretty flashy, but also pretty precise. So I'm going to kind of shut up here and try to hit it. All right, so essentially we clip on that piece of stalactite to get out of bounds, and we get out of bounds, and then we're going to run across out of bounds, and then we're going to do a thing known as a skid jump, where we're going to release the R button, put Scooby into a skid, and that essentially allows us to extend the amount of frames before we can put a jump, and then we're going to jump over a death plane, and then we're in Skull 3. If you know, Skull 4 is the second longest level in the game. We're actually going to go through the longest level in the game later on in the run, but we just skipped the second longest level of the game by doing that Void Warp. We just saved about a minute doing that Void Warp. And now we're in Skull 3. And again, Void Warping takes us back to the intended beginning entrances. So we were in Skull 4, and now we're in Skull 3. So it just takes us to the Skull 3 entrance. Oops. And so that is basically how Void Warping works. That makes a lot more sense because we're going 4 to 3. It's very obvious we're going backwards through these levels, and that is part of the reason why going through Skull Cliff backwards is faster. But also, again, there's a very long auto-scroller in Hedge 4, and not only that, there's just more levels. There's only 4 Skull Cliff levels, and there's like 5 or 6. There's like 5 greenhouse levels, right? And so essentially, by skipping all of the hedge maze, we can go through these levels because not only are these levels smaller, but there's just less of them. And then here we're going to do kind of a Hail Mary jump. But it's going to be fine. We're just going to jump over this chasm here, and then we're just going to make our way at the top. And if you heard what I said before, Hill 3 is connected to Skull 1, and we are in Skull 1 right now. So by exiting this door and going through all these levels backwards, we are now in Hill 3. And so at the top of Hill 3 is where the helmet upgrade is, which is what we have been setting up for this whole time. And we're just going to collect some of these snacks, and we're going to make a cycle known as Boulder Cycle. On our way up, I will point it out and once we get to it. And essentially, Boulder Cycle, there's a boulder rolling down the hill here where we can basically collect all these snacks and then get into a little nook along the path here. So right here, we can get into this nook, and then we can get past that boulder without getting hit, and that is Boulder Cycle. But now we're going to talk about beep beep. Remember the map, and remember pause storage. So pause storage, essentially what we're going to do is we're going to warp without the use of a warp gate. And how we're going to do that is that we're going to open up a debug menu, and through this debug menu, we can basically just warp from anywhere without the use of a warp gate. And how we're going to do that is that we're going to pause the game, we're going to hover over quit game, yes, and then we're going to select it. But we're going to unplug our controller. And it's going to make this sound, and then we're just going to hold start on our controller, plug it back in. We've done it. We're good. And so now we have 2 menus open. And since we have 2 menus open, we can essentially just do some menuing, get over to Coast 3, and we're going to warp back to Coast 3. And now we just warp without a warp gate. And we're going to do that a couple more times. And yes, you can technically quit the game, but I have save states just in case that happens. Well, I have saves on memory cards just in case that happens. And now we're going to pay the 500 gate that we walked away from before. And now we are going to go get the Super Smash upgrade. But right here, we're actually going to go down this little path here to get this warp gate here. And that's because back there is where Redbeard is. But we're going to go to Redbeard later on in the run, as we can't really go fight him now. And we are just going to make our way on through here. And we're going to go get the Super Smash upgrade. But we will warp back to that warp gate later on. It just saves us some time on backtracking to get it earlier. And just set us up for Redbeard later on. But now we are going to go get the Super Smash upgrade. So since we have the helmet upgrade now, we can, the helmet upgrade essentially allows us to kill enemies, hit buttons, and break open objects. And so we're going to be hitting a button, and then we're going to be breaking open objects. With our newly acquired helmet, we're going to hit that button. It's going to send that light bulb up to the top. And essentially, the Super Smash is in that light bulb, and we need the helmet in order to break it open. Now, what the Super Smash is, it's basically just a ground pound from Super Mario. And in order to get to the top, we're actually going to do more of this movement, where we're going to aim Scooby's head away from these enemies and slide around them. Again, this just shrinks Scooby's hitbox to his head, and as long as we're aiming our head away on enemies, we can slide through them, and we can make our way up the staircase in a timely manner while collecting snacks at the bottom. And basically just make on up here and make a cycle. And then we're going to do another pause storage after we collect the Super Smash. So now we're gonna another pause storage, and then we are going to make our way to Mystery Machine. So now we are going to go fight the Green Ghost boss fight, because now we have all the upgrades that we need in order to fight Green Ghost. Now you might be wondering, we are going back to Misbehavin' 1, and you might have this inkling in your head if you played the game before. We need to get up that really big hill in the background, and so we need to get the Plungers upgrade. We're going to skip the Plungers upgrade because we actually don't need the Plungers upgrade. We're going to do a trick known as Plunger Skip. This trick saves about 2 minutes in total. But I just kind of wanted to recap what we have done so far. So we have collected all the upgrades that we need, and now we are on our way to the boss rush, where we're going to fight all the bosses in the game. And essentially, we move Black Knight later on, so we can basically get to the Super Smash upgrade earlier than intended. By doing Black Knight skip, where we clip through the water, we can essentially get to the Super Smash upgrade earlier by skipping all of the Fishy Clues levels. And so that's very important, because there's a 450 snack gate in Fishy Clues, as well as there just being 4 levels. And so by void warping through that water, essentially we get to the Super Smash earlier, and we also skip the Black Knight boss fight in the need of the Galoshes upgrade totally. And so that allows us to not only move Black Knight later on the run, which is just faster, which we'll explain more later, but it also allows us to get the Super Smash upgrade. So we're kind of just killing 2 birds with 1 stone there. And now we're just going to make our way back into Misbehavin', where we're going to do the trick known as Plunger Skip. So normally, in order to get to the plungers, we need to go through the creepy levels, which takes about 2 minutes. So instead, we're going to attract this fish over. We're attracting this specific fish because this fish has the leash range required to get all the way over to this giant hill. And basically, we're going to use our newly acquired Super Smash upgrade to bounce off his head, jump up, and enter the gate and hit the trigger. And now we're in Misbehavin' 2, and now that is the only part where we would need the plungers upgrade. And so now we just don't need the plungers. So by doing that, that's literally the only spot in the game where we would need the plungers upgrade, and now we don't need the plungers upgrade. It's pretty funny. They didn't really use the galoshes, the tar, excuse me, or a lot of slopes a lot in this game. And so since we're not going to any of those places and there's just not that much tar, we can skip the galoshes and skip the Black Knight boss fight and move him later on, and then we can also just skip the plungers because we only need the plungers 1 time. And so as you can tell, this is a really big room with a very long cutscene. And I'm just going to try to move through here without the use of the camera there. And we're going to hit this button. And you might have a little sneaking suspicion in your little head here that this might be one of those dreadful things called an auto-scroller. And you'd be right. This is an auto-scroller. This water rises to the top, and we have to go through this level in order to get to Green Ghost. There's no other way to get to the Green Ghost boss fight besides going through Misbehavin' 3. So we skipped 1 auto-scroller in the game. We skipped Head 4 earlier on to get to the helmet upgrade earlier, but unfortunately we cannot skip this one. And so I just want to take a minute to just explain what we're going to do next, which is we're on our way to fight Green Ghost. And basically, we're going to fight Green Ghost, and then we're going to use the umbrella invention from Green Ghost. And that umbrella invention basically allows us to float and glide, and that will set us up in order to get to both Redbeard and Black Knight faster. And basically allow us to get into those levels, into those boss fights earlier than intended, or through different means than intended, which we'll get to a bit later. Right now, I'm just gonna sit on Twitter Boat. This is called Twitter Boat. Normally, you can get on Twitter for a bit because you just kind of have to wait here. I'm gonna drink some water, And now we are going to basically make it to the top. And an important thing about this level is that if we die in this level, we have to restart the level all over again, which is why you see me kind of moving a bit slowly through this level. But this is the most punishing level in the game because it's a very long auto-scroller. And again, if you die, you have to restart. And so that thing that we just passed, that cloud, is essentially just an upgrade to the Super Smash upgrade. We don't need it because we already have the base Super Smash upgrade. It basically allows us to have an AoE ground pound. And that will stun enemies, but we don't need that, so we're just going to skip it. And then we're going to do a trick known as Beat My Keys. Don't ask why it's called Beat My Keys, it just is. And we're just going to get all these keys in a cycle like this, collect some snacks in the fastest way possible, and we're just going to make our way into the next room. As I like to say, Urn Room, but it's just Tight Spot 2 or Gray Plot 2, whatever you want to call it. But this is the urn room. We have to knock 4 urns down to the bottom in order to open the door. And so how we're going to do that is we're actually going to do, this room is an auto-scroller. And so what we're going to do is that we're going to skip the auto-scroller. We're going to knock down these urns out of order because it doesn't matter what order you do it in. We're going to jump on that 5 times, and then we're going to jump up here. And then we're basically just knocking all 4 of these urns down. And then now we have skipped... by doing all this cool platforming, we have just skipped the entire autoscroller. This saves about 12 seconds rather than doing the autoscroller. And then we're going to jump here because for some reason, if we don't jump here, we can't do this, which is a cutscene skip. Also, I ran off and died in the previous room to skip a cutscene. I forgot to mention that. But we're also running off and dying there to skip a cutscene. And the reason that we jumped instead of skidding into the previous door is because for whenever you skid in this game before you enter a door, you remove the amount of skid frames that you have in the next room. And so basically we just need those skid frames in order to get all the way off the ledge in order to skip that 8-second cutscene. And now we're going to do 600 gate skip. Now this one's a very, very complicated and hard skip to do. We're just going to warp to a place where we didn't have a warp gate activated, and now we're in the Green Ghost boss fight room. What? Okay, so essentially, the warp gate that we activated has the same code. Fun music glitch, by the way. This can sometimes happen. But those warp gates, for some reason, have the same exact code. So when you activate one, you activate the other. And so since we activated since we activated one, we can just activate the other. And coincidentally, that warp gate is right next to the Green Ghost boss fight room. And so we're going to collect these keys, and then we're going to go fight Green Ghost. And also, you'll notice is that normally we have to pay a 600 snack gate in order to get to Green Ghost normally, but we actually just skipped that snack gate completely. And now we're just into the Green Ghost boss fight room. Now, this boss fight is RNG. We have to hit him 3 times. So Daphne has to open this coffin. We hit the button with our ground pound, and then it puts this little sucky wind, and then we need him to fly over the sucky wind. And so now we're going to get our first hit. We need 3 hits to finish it. And yeah. And so this is a point of RNG in the run, unfortunately. Is what it is, but we got 2 hits. This is going pretty well. Hopefully he goes to the middle here. He's not going to. He's going to lightning again. Yes, sir. I play this game too much. And we're just going to hope that he goes here. But again, we skipped the 600 snack gate, which is very important because snacks in this game are time. And so if we can skip snack gates, we save time. And so right here, we're actually going to do a pause storage. Again, we got it successfully again, plug it back in, and now we're going to warp back to that warp gate that we got beforehand, the which way warp gate, and then we're going to start the fade a little bit earlier. We're going to skip this, and now we have the umbrella upgrade, which will allow us to float. And this is the main reason why we can get into Redbeard and Black Knight early. So right now, we're actually going to go fight Redbeard right now. And how we're going to get to Redbeard is that normally there's a lot of shipwreck levels. There's a gas 1 through 3, and there's wreck 1 through 3. We're in wreck 1, but there's a shortcut to a gas 3. And so we're going to take that shortcut to a gas 3, essentially. And how we're going to do that is that we're going to jump on the ship mast and Super Smash up here, and then jump all the way up here, and then jump over these invisible walls here, drop down, and enter the shortcut into a gas 3. And then we're going to do 750 skip. So this just skipped all of the shipwreck levels. So again, rec 1 through 3 and a gas 1 through 3. And now we're going to clip out of bounds using this boat. You can see there's a snack gate in the back there. That snack gate is 750 snacks. It's a lot of snacks. And so essentially what we're going to do is we're going to clip out of bounds and we're going to go over here. Now you might be wondering why we're going over here. And that is because the exit of the Redbeard boss fight is in a gas 3. And so we're going to enter Redbeard, guess what? Through the exit of the Redbeard boss fight. We're going backwards into Redbeard. So we're entering Redbeard through the exit of the fight, and now we are fighting Redbeard. And we were able to do that because we have the umbrella. And so because we have the umbrella, we can float across the boat in order to get to the entrance. And that is why we wanted to fight Green Ghost first, so we could get the umbrella so that we could get into Redbeard earlier. And we also skipped the 750 snack gate, which is the biggest time save because collecting 750 snacks is a lot of time. Here we're going to do Fred Clip. It's a very, very finicky trick. Sometimes that happens. And we're going to go for a multi-rope. Unfortunately, didn't get one. But so essentially how this boss fight works is that we want Redbeard to cut multiple ropes. We want him to cut 3 ropes ideally because we actually can cut all 4 ropes in one go. But we actually don't want to do that because if we do that, we soft lock. And essentially we have to kill ourselves and we have to basically reset the boss fight all over again, which we don't want to do. I tried to get a 2 rope there. Unfortunately, we didn't get a multi rope. I don't get to show that off to you all today. But essentially, if we get a 3 rope, we save about 1.5 minutes in this boss fight. So it's really beneficial to do, but it's also probably the hardest thing to do in this game, period. I think like getting a 3 rope is probably just, it's absolutely ridiculous. We don't really have a setup for it. It's just so precise that it's kind of just like prey. But we're just gonna basically jump up and we're gonna angle. And so basically when we jump up before Redbeard throw his sword, it basically has him throw it more upwards. And basically we want him to throw it upwards because it's just a shorter travel time to cut the rope. And so basically, we're going to cut this last rope, and then we're going to talk to Fred, and then we're going to watch his cutscene, and then we're going to make our way to the Black Knight boss fight. And then we're going to fight Black Knight third. And so now, ooh, badge. So we're just going to wait for him to be done laughing, and then we have Redbeard throw his sword upwards, and then we're going to hit to that, and then we're going to trigger Fred, and then we're going to do another pause storage, and then we're going to work the mystery machine. There we go. Just make sure I didn't reset the run, and now we are in mystery machine, and now we're finally going to go through Manor and finally fight the Black Knight boss fight. So how we're going to get to Black Knight is really quick. And the main reason that it's really quick is because we have both the Super Smash upgrade and we have the Umbrella upgrade. Now, both of these upgrades are very, very important in order to get to Black Knight early, which is the trick we're setting up for next, BKE. So similar to Black Knight skip, Black Knight early is a 2-part trick as well. And so the first part of the trick is just using the Umbrella to float up into a shortcut that will take us to Tower 1. And if you know, Tower 1 is actually, guess what? The exit of the Black Knight boss fight. And then we're going to do a very, very precise jump with our Super Smash upgrade to get to the top of Tower 1 to enter Black Knight backwards. And so this essentially skips a ton of levels in the game. So essentially, we would normally have to go through Mind 1 through 3. We would have to go through Don't Look Down, Upstairs. We would have to go through Dark and Stormy. There's a ton of levels that we are skipping all of them by doing this trick. And here we're going to pay our second to last snack gate of the run, the 200 snack gate. And now all we have to do is pay the 850 snack gate, which if you thought we were over collecting, guess what? We still don't have 850 snacks, so we're still working on that. So this is the first part of Black Knight early. We're going to hit this fan, and then we are going to float up it with our Umbrella upgrade in order to get to the top here. And then that will essentially allow us to float up here. And now we are in Tower 1. So that's the first part of Black Knight early. And so this is the second part of Black Knight early. This is the hard part. So this is one of the hardest tricks in the game that I'm about to do. It's called Black Knight early. And so essentially what we're going to do is that we're going to be silent for a second. So essentially what we're doing here is we're double jumping, and then we're using our Super Smash to extend the amount of time that we have in the air to get up here to that very tiny ledge, and then we're going to jump up here and enter the Black Knight boss fight backwards, similarly how we entered Redbeard backwards, and now we're just in the Black Knight boss fight. We just skipped 11 minutes of gameplay by doing that. 11. Because we skipped 5 from Fishy Skip, and then we skipped about 6 more from just the levels to get to Black Knight. And so there's a 400. There's a couple more snack gates that we would have to pay normally in order to get to Black Knight. But instead, by moving Black Knight third and having the Umbrella upgrade and the Super Smash upgrade and collecting those first, we essentially, by moving him third, we save 11 whole minutes off the run, which is absolutely crazy. Which is why we did this convoluted pathing and this convoluted game breaking, because we just saved 11 whole minutes off movement by itself. And if you haven't noticed, similar to Green Ghost, Black Knight is RNG. We need him to walk into all 4 of these buttons, and when he does, that is the end of the Black Knight boss fight. And so that was not the worst RNG. And now we're going to pause storage again. Actually, no, we're not going to pause storage again because we need to trigger the cutscene so we can get credit for defeating Black Knight. So we're going to do this, and now we're going to pause storage. And that is the last pause storage of the run. And now we are just going to make our way to Shock 2. And now we're going to go fight Mastermind. And yeah, so that is the main reason why we move Black Knight to the third boss that we fight, because we just save 11 minutes by doing that, which is just absolutely insane. It is just absolutely absurd. And now we are just going to make our way through, and we are going to go fight Mastermind. Now, we're not done skipping levels and skipping things in this game yet, because we're actually going to be skipping another main area of the game, the basement levels. So normally after you fight Redbeard, he gives us the gum upgrade, which allows some enemies to spawn in Creepy 3, which allows us to get to the basement levels, which has the soap upgrade. And normally we need the soap upgrade in order to get to the top of this chasm in Creepy 2 here. And we need to get to the top of this chasm in Creepy 2 because at the top of this chasm is the entrance of Lab. And so normally we need the soap upgrade in order to spawn bats so that we can soap the bats to create platforms to jump up here. But instead, we're going to do soap skip, or Redbeard skip as we like to call it, because normally in any percent we're skipping Redbeard and the soap. Here we're just skipping the soap upgrade. So for the purposes of this run, we'll call it soap skip. And then we are going to make our way up to the top here. And then we're going to do another trick known as yellow jump by floating up Lab here. And then essentially we skipped about 5 minutes of gameplay by doing soap skip, which is nice. And now we're going to try to get to 850 snacks. Now I'm a little low on snacks, unfortunately, so I'm going to kind of have to collect some slower snacks here in order to get all the way to 850, but that is all right. We're just going to make our way over here. We're going to collect some slower backup snacks, and we're just going to make our way over here to this arc. And now we're going to go pay because right now we're going immediately to the 850 snack gate. All right. And so here we're just going to do a trick known as leader skip. We're actually jumping on visible ledges along the walls here. As you can see, that's a visible ledge. And then we're going to pay the 850 snack gate. But unfortunately, I don't have 850, so I'm going to go get that invisible snack box up there. And then we're going to pay the 850 snack gate. And we're left with exactly 1 snack. So again, if you thought we were over collecting, we're not, because we are just now in Mastermind Room. And so now we are on our way to the last boss fight of the room. Doing Lido skip saves about 2 minutes, just having to go through Lab 2 and Lab 3. We essentially just skip all that and just pay the 858 immediately. And now we are just going to ignore Shaggy. Similar how did we do before, we're going to just clip through this door, and we're just going to skip playing that minigame with Shaggy to save him from the shark. And he's going to die. You know, it's just unfortunate. He's just dead. There's nothing we can do about it. It's very sad. But don't worry, he's fine. He's in the back. I'm just playing. He's fine. He's in the back here. And now we're going to fight Mastermind. Now, Mastermind has 4 phases of the fight, and the TLDR of what we're about to do here is that we're going to clip through this wall, and we're going to skip phase 1 and 3 of the boss fight. So this is phase 1 skip, where we're going to hit both of these buttons. We're going to clip through that wall, and then we're going to hit both of those buttons. That tricks the boss fight into thinking we have defeated the first wave of enemies, and now we're going to fight the second wave of enemies. Now, there are 3 waves of enemies for this boss fight, and we're going to skip phase 3 by after we fighting that boss fight, we're going to wait 5 seconds. And then after we wait 5 seconds, then we're going to go back and we're going to hit this button again. This tricks the boss fight into thinking that we have fought the 3rd phase of the Mastermind fight. And now we just skip phase 1 and 3, which means we've just basically skipped 2 waves of enemies, which scale upwards. So, and now we're just going to wait for Mastermind to spawn. And then wherever he spawns, we're going to hit him into the electricity in the back here, and then timer's going to stop as soon as he gets hit. So right about now. And that is time. And that is Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights, all bosses. I'm going to pause the game here so the cutscene doesn't play, but that is the end of this run. So just thank you for your time, GDQ. Thank you for giving me your time to watch this. And yeah, all bosses is a really cool run. We get to see a lot of the game, and I hope I get in, and if I don't, I'll still be watching. I'll still be supporting. So just thank you all for your time. Peace.